hi. We found ourselves in a
Hello.
special location for Ted and Andy Have More to Say. My name is Andrew Schultz.
My name is Ted Henley, and imagine this location has food and has beer.
Yes.
Anyone who's seen our previous podcasts or listened to them knows that we happen to be fans of food and beer. So, fancy that we show up here.
Together or separately, this is together. This is Last Best in their brewing and distilling. Now, it's interesting because Alberta all day long. Right?
Yeah.
They have different breweries across the province. And the deal with Last Best is it's a tip of the hat to the old West when they said, come on out to Alberta, come on out to the West. And when it comes to brewing, Last Best, it's the last best chance to get the best water and best ingredients. And a little birdie told me that they're working on their distilling right now, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're kegging it right now. They're putting it in casks because they want it to age. Beers on tap. They have 5 regular beers on tap all the time, and then they rotate a couple more. So come on down and check it out. We're just at 11th Ave and 5th Street Southwest, which is, remember the old keg location? Well, it's right next door to that.
Breathing life into the old Electric Avenue. This is cool. Electric Avenue brings me to our topic that I wanted to talk about today, Ted. I was down here in 1989 running around the streets because the Calgary Flames had won the Stanley Cup.
You were 29, right?
I was not old enough to go into an establishment like Last Best here, or back in the day, Fox and Firkin, one of the old haunts. But I was a fan of the Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Calgary Flames jersey. If you're listening, if you can see me, you see what I'm wearing today. I want to talk about particularly this comes up when you talk about hockey playoffs, NFL, CFL,
Football,
NBA, MLB.
Yeah.
When the playoffs are in full swing, more than anything, you hear about fans coming out of the woodwork. Now, what is the definition of a fan? Because I know that in our business and with our buddies, and guys and gals together, like they give people a hard time for being fans of certain teams. What does it take to be a fan of a team? Do you have to live in the city where the team is playing, or do you have to have some roots from the city?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So my take on this is that anyone can be a fan, but to be a hardcore fan, you have to have cheered for the team for a significant amount of time. You don't have to live in the city.
Okay, yeah.
Like anyone can be a fan of any team in any place in the world, be it Premier League, football, or whatever it happens to be that you like, Aussie rules football, whatever. But I think you can call yourself a fan, or you can call yourself a hardcore fan.
Okay.
And the distinction is between, I guess, you can be a fan even if you're like a bandwagon jumper during the playoffs. You want to cheer for whatever team you think is going to win. You jump on that bandwagon. You're such and such team's fan.
Okay.
Right? But to be a hardcore fan, you also cheer for the team during the down times.
Oh, okay.
And
so
the tough
thick and
times.
thin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then in Calgary, for example, the city where our podcast comes from, we have a lot of people who cheer on the Canadians, right?
Montreal
Canadiens.
Yeah.
We have Bruins fans, Boston Bruins fans when it comes to hockey. And it's tough because in Canada, NFL, you cheer for Seattle just because they're the closest geographically. But interestingly enough, you have roots in Toronto.
I do.
And you don't carry that Maple Leaf love with you.
And I've said this many times on the show, and I'll say it again right now. I am 45 years of age, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have done nothing during my lifetime.
Okay,
which is why I can't continue to cheer for a team. I was a teenager. I went to high school and then university in Toronto. Of course, I cheered for the Leafs because they were the hometown team, right? But as I moved across the country, and I've lived in many different cities during my career, I've adopted that team as my team.
But also nothing's exciting from your past.
Nothing from... Well, why would you cheer for the Leafs? Because in the distant future, it doesn't look like they're going to do anything, even until I'm 50. So there you go. But, I mean, having said that, I'm also a San Francisco 49ers fan.
And how did that come to be?
And that came about because I grew up watching Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, all those guys, right, in the NFL, because the team was hot at that time when I was like, 82, 83, 84, 85, when I was like, a tween and a teenager. I was like, oh, yeah, these guys are pretty fun to watch, so I adopted them. And the San Francisco Giants, the reason I became a Giants fan is because a friend of mine lives in San Francisco, and every time I came down and visit him, and he's been down there for about 14 years now, we would always go to Giants games. Yeah. And so I just kind of adopted that as my National League team. My American League team is still the Toronto Blue Jays. I like the Jays. Yeah.
Go Jays, go.
Again, because I grew up as a teenager in the 80s when they were winning, right? So, yeah.
You got to get swept up.
Yeah.
I became an NBA fan about 6 years ago. Just out of the blue, saw a game on. It's a very fast-paced game.
Yeah.
And for some reason, and they've had some good years past 2 or 3 years, but when I became a fan of the Los Angeles Clippers, they were not doing so great, but they had Blake Griffin, they had Chris Paul,
Sure.
and I watched these guys do some tremendous things. I like the lighthearted nature of how they play the game, and so the Clippers, I kind of forayed into becoming an NBA
You
fan.
also probably like cheering for a team that's not the mainstream team, right? Yeah.
Look at Los Angeles, particularly. Well, now the Clippers are doing better than the Lakers,
Yeah.
but back then they were in the shadow of Big Brother Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen a couple of their games, and I really enjoy that. But it made me think the psychology behind becoming a fan and feeling like you belong, or that becomes your team. But I also think it's also fun to razz people who aren't cheering for your team. So I think that's part of it as well, the social aspect of giving somebody a hard time. But also, it's always interesting to me when somebody is a fan of a team on the other side of the continent or on the other side of the world, never been there, never lived, but they have a right to.
Oh, sure. Sure, and they're fans.
And you don't need to buy merchandise.
Hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I mean, some people are jersey people, some people wear ball hats, some people don't, and, whatever you like to do, right? Some people just wear the team color in a scarf or whatever it happens to be. I mean, show your fan appreciation any way you want. But you can't call yourself a hardcore fan if you don't cheer for a team, even during the downtime.
I love that philosophy.
Yeah.
That is a great philosophy. If you have a philosophy or a favorite team you'd like to send our way, or if you have a definition of what a true fan is, Ted's got his, I've got mine. Whenever you feel an attachment, that's fine with me. But breakfasttelevision.ca, let us know your thoughts on Ted and Andy have more to say.